Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a triumphant Tuesday so far. Today we're going to be diving into our daily cryptocurrency market update, and there's quite a lot to cover within this video. Apologies for it coming out a little bit later than we normally release one of these cryptocurrency daily market updates. Just had a lot going on, but we are of course going to be diving into everything. We're going to be significantly more focused on the cryptocurrency market itself rather than external markets within this video. We're going to be diving into Bitcoin. We've seen a nice little run up for Bitcoin. We know we still are on a macro time frame range bound, and we are currently in a structure that potentially may lead to an upside breakout, which we will talk about. We're going to be going over a lot of the news headlines surfacing within the cryptocurrency space. Some of these are extremely significant, like the fact that the SEC pushes decision on Wisdom Tree's and One River's application for a spot Bitcoin ETF. A spot Bitcoin ETF would essentially give many large institutions out there, some of the largest, the green light to essentially start accumulating Bitcoin and offering up spot Bitcoin ETF services, which have to be backed by, of course, spot spot Bitcoin, BTC. It would be significant, and we'd see a huge volume spike in Bitcoin, and preferably to the upside. We are in a technical pattern currently that would sort of take us to the upside. We did say we didn't think this was a symmetrical triangle and more of an ascending triangle that has more of a probability to break to the upside, which we're potentially set to do. But we'll be talking about that. I also want to play you this clip of Biden talking at the Business Roundtable about where the economy is and how it's at an inflection point and we're moving towards a new world. We will play that and we'll make some comments on it because it's a very interesting time in history where we're currently at, ladies and gentlemen. And crypto, I think, is going to play a role in that transformation, potentially for the good, but also there will be some negative repercussions as a result of it. So let's get into it. So we know markets are a little bit more chirpy today. We are seeing a little bit of a letting up of what was a previous downtrend. We know that Bitcoin is still in a range. And ultimately, we are on the wrong side of that range. If we see this as a sort of halfway inflection point, we're at the wrong side of it. But we are progressing. We have seen a nice little uptick. Very common, and we say this all the time, when you get overextended to the downtime from your 20 EMA specifically, you always will see a return move to it eventually, and that's potentially what is setting up now. So it's certainly something to watch the 20 EMA on the weekly and whether we reject off it. We are in conveniently at this kind of halfway point of this range that we've been in for over a year now. We are coming up against it, and we actually have seen a rejection off of it, and we are in what is a ascending triangle, in my opinion, in opposition with a triangle like this that typically would break to the downside. We are potentially setting up for an upside break, which does have the potential. I'll very, very quickly give you a rough kind of figure of where a breakout could take us. We could see, if we do break out here, potentially a breakout back to that sort of 55 to 54 K range, which I'd certainly like to see. If this is indeed a breakout, doesn't mean that it is going to break out. We could still coil up and we could actually reject, and see downside continuation. We are in a downtrend until we break that and start taking out some of these lower lows and so on. So let's dive into some of the news. The SEC pushes decision on Wisdom Tree and One River's application for a spot Bitcoin ETF. This is absolutely significant. The regulator said it would extend its window for the decision on Wisdom Tree's Bitcoin investment vehicle to May the 15th and One River's to June the 2nd. So they keep delaying this really because we know that the SEC is kind of playing this juggling act, and we also have an executive order that essentially kicked into effect not even a couple of weeks ago now, which essentially has tasked various agencies within the United States to come out and regulate Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency industry, the digital asset industry, which is coming in the next sort of 170 days or so. So they may be trying to put off for more clarity on that to kind of front run it with potentially a approval of an ETF. An ETF, a spot ETF, we have futures ETFs, which don't actually have to be backed by spot Bitcoin. It's essentially a derivative of Bitcoin. But a spot Bitcoin ETF would be absolutely magnificent for Bitcoin and crypto in general. What's good for Bitcoin is generally good for crypto and certainly altcoins, because your companies would essentially have to buy in the same way that Grayscale do Bitcoin in order to facilitate these ETFs. So that's very significant. Goldman Sachs makes milestone crypto trade with Galaxy Digital. The bank first over-the-counter cryptocurrency transaction could spur other Wall Street heavyweights to follow suit. We are going to see this trend continue. The reason we bring these up is just really to show you that despite all the pessimism within markets currently, the reality, in my opinion, couldn't be further from the truth than the mainstream narrative that is sort of pushed out there that, we're in a kind of dark hole for the crypto space. I would actually argue we're not. And you guys know I actually think that this could be setting up for the super cycle. This structure here is not 2018 or 2014 bear market structure. This is actually us holding our ground relative and ready for that continuation. We've moved away, I believe, from that sort of 4-year cycle theory. Commonwealth Bank says crypto already mainstream. In a sense, the Commonwealth Bank of America managing director of blockchain and digital assets said crypto has moved into the mainstream. Within reason, it has certainly got a lot more mainstream attention, but we have already, and you guys know in terms of people actually using crypto, yes, maybe people know about crypto, a fraction of those people own it, and a fraction of 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 those people actually use it. We've not seen anything for the crypto space yet, ladies and gentlemen. Grayscale's latest fund focuses on smart contract platforms. World's largest digital currency asset manager introduces its 18th investment product. The fund's top holdings are Cardano and Solana. We are going to see continuation. Smart contract blockchains actually have a larger scope of money that they can potentially attract. What you want to look at smart contracts are smart contract blockchains like Solana, ETHEREUM, Cardano, TERRA is operating systems that the new world can be built upon. But we'll get into the new world with this clip from Biden in just a second. Bitcoin hash rate may see small capitulation with difficulty set for new all-time highs. Bitcoin network fundamentals appear more resilient than ever to attacks on miners' operations. Always good to pay attention to the hash rate of Bitcoin because it's kind of a representation of how strong the Bitcoin network is. The more hash rate, the more computing power that's going into mining a Bitcoin, and the more people mining it, the stronger and securer the network is. What Satoshi did, I imagine he's had a relative idea of what he was setting into motion, but he would be a Nobel Prize winner. I think he would have been killed already, but he would have been a Nobel Prize winner time and time again. He really set into motion some revolutionary practices. So let's dive into this clip of Biden talking about, this was at the Business Roundtables, the CEO quarterly meeting, and he's essentially talking about the fact that we're at an inflection point in terms of our economy. I'll play the clip, we'll talk about it, we'll review it, and then we'll wrap this video up.
I think, my mother had an expression, out of everything terrible, something good will come if you look hard enough for it. I think this presents us with some significant opportunities to make some real changes. We are at an inflection point, I believe, in the world economy. Not just the world economy, in the world. It occurs every 3 or 4 generations. As one of the top military people said to me in a secure meeting the other day, 60 million people died between 1900 and 1946. And since then, we established a liberal world order, and that hadn't happened in a long while. A lot of people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. And now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it. And we've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it. So anyway, I'm going to hush up, Mary.
That was really it. He spoke about a number of things, a number of threats potentially approaching the United States with everything that's going on. It's important always to remember that we still are in a very uncertain time period, given everything geopolitical, macroeconomically, and monetary policy wise. But he's talking about a new world here, and I can't move away from this because the ever approaching or the ever increasing globalization of the world, I think is going to involve crypto. You've got to remember, crypto is global. It is, there's no borders to the cryptocurrency space, and that's one of the unique features that it has over potential other monetary units. And I can't help but feel like crypto is going to be used. They are working on CBDCs across the board. we've seen almost like an unfolding of globalization with everything that's happened with Russia and the Ukraine, because we know that the world is very domino affected to one another, in the sense that, you know, we've seen repercussions of the fact that what's happened essentially hit people in the pocket in terms of gas prices, a number of commodities that Russia are a big supplier of. But, you know, I still think there's an overarching global expansion taking place, and I think crypto could be at the helm of it. So it's a very exciting time to be alive, ladies and gentlemen, for better or worse. You know, pick your side. I think people think that I have a political dog. I have a fight in the political game. You know, we try and stay as apolitical on this channel as possible. I have, of course, my own very strong opinions on politics, but it's not really something that I care to share on this channel because this is a crypto-based channel. But if I do see something that I believe is wrong, of course, I will point it out. So it's a very interesting time, guys. We are, of course, range-bound and have been really for over a year now, a year and a bit. And it's going to be interesting to see what side this breaks to. Now, ultimately, I think this is going to go to the upside. We are going to see continuation out of the back end of it. I think a lot of on-chain analytics really suggest and support that. And I think the structure that we're currently in could potentially be promising. What I don't like is how we've fallen short of it. This kind of on-top resistance, if you will, where you've got a kind of grinding up support. Potentially this is setting up for a break to the upside. It's too early really to tell at the moment. It's going to be interesting, certainly on a weekly, to see if we do indeed reject off of this 20 EMA like we did over here. Very common on the lead up to a breakout. Can you see you do sort of run into a little bit of resistance there before setting up for that continuation. But ultimately, you guys know that I am the ultimate crypto bull. I think, again, crypto is going to change the world. And in the new world that we're moving towards, it's going to play a huge role within it. It is the new monetary system in many ways. You know, blockchain is going to be and run the new monetary system. And that sounds alien to many people. But if you look throughout history, there has constantly been a shift in money itself and how it's used. We recommended a book called 4,000 Years of Currency, Markets and Trading or something. I can't quite remember what the book was called. That's bad of me, as I've read it so many times already. But it was essentially pointing out and showing you that throughout history, money has changed from way back in Mesopotamia and Babylon, it being on the cuneiform tablets, to present day us using, you know, really digits on a screen. You know, there's been a lot of different monetary systems that have came and gone. And potentially crypto is the new one to replace the old one, or certainly merge with the old one. So it's all very exciting, albeit good or bad, you know, whatever your opinion on everything is. So yeah, this is going to be a huge catalyst if the SEC do indeed go ahead and accept and you know, give a green light to a spot Bitcoin ETF. Your markets would act in such an amazing way that it would be extremely significant. That is all I really have for you in this video, guys. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. I hope you've enjoyed this content. If you have, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next YouTube video. Thanks a lot for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your Tuesdays.